Welcome back to the channel. This is day 23 of the 100 Horror Films in 31 Days, and I got in 4 films, picked up the pace a little bit. First up is a classic film, The Hunchback of Notre Dame, Lon Chaney, 1923. This is a Kino release, and the picture quality is great. Really this is a love story. I think it ends up in the horror genre simply because of Lon Chaney's mesmerizing performance as Quasimodo. And he suffered for the role. He wore like a 50-pound hump on his back, and his makeup on his face. I mean, he suffered for this role. It's a great story, a great film. Probably it's the first big budget horror film of all time, I believe. Universal spent a fortune on these immaculate sets, and it set up really the whole Beauty and the Beast story for years to come. I mean, King Kong was really based on it. Creature from Black Lagoon is based on it. Every single beast carrying a woman around it's really starts with this film. Now I will say this: as much as I like this film and think it's a masterpiece, I prefer Charles Laughton's 1939 portrayal of the Hunchback is my favorite, and I think Charles Laughton is one of the greatest actors of all time. Lon Chaney Sr. is too, but Charles Laughton, he's like number one for me. I think he's fantastic. All in all, a great film. This has an audio commentary track and some 16 millimeter footage of Lon roaming around on the sets. So yeah, I definitely recommend this release from Kino. I picked it up for like $10. Alright, next up is an animated film, and that is Vampire Hunter D from 1985, directed by Toei Ashida. And it is about a vampire hunter, obviously, a Dunpeel. And apparently a Dunpeel is a mutant vampire, half mutant, half vampire. And this half mutant, half vampire is on a quest to rid the world of this monstrous vampire that's lived for centuries and is terrorizing the community. It's a good film. It really, these films are not my cup of tea. I've seen it twice now, and I know if you're really not into animated films, you're probably not going to be into this, and I'm not really into it. I wanted to see it again just to refresh my memory, but at the end of the day, it just kind of washed over me. It's not bad. It's got some great visuals. I gave it a 6 out of 10. Then I watched the second film, I think, Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust, which came along in 2000, so it took them a while to make a follow-up to the story. And this time, the Dunpeel, it's basically the same plot. The Dunpeel is chasing down and hunting down vampires. This film has a lot more production value, a lot more interesting. It's a lot more serious, I think. Although the first film was entirely serious, this one feels a lot more adult in its presentation. I gave it a 7 out of 10. I think it's a slightly better film than the first. But again, these are films that I probably won't go back to. I just not sure why I went to them. But I didn't really particularly care for it the first time. But I can appreciate them for what they are, and I think if you're an anime fan, you're going to love it. But I'm not really a big anime person. And then I watched The Surprise of the Day. This is 2020's Sky Sharks, and I watched this on Tubi. Now you hear a title called Sky Sharks and you're thinking, great, this is a sci-fi film. Probably a cheap sci-fi channel film with shitty acting and bad CGI. Nope, you would be wrong. This is a bonkers, tongue-in-cheek film about Nazis that have figured out a way to come back from the dead as zombies, and they've created these motorized mechanical flying sharks. It sounds stupid as hell, but I was totally into it. Totally into it. It's comic bookish. It's very much kind of like Resident Evil, maybe. along those lines. Very comic bookish, very silly, but it's a hell of a lot of fun. The gore quotient is off the radar, and there is some CGI that's questionable in this. I mean, there's so much gore and blood floating around, and so many heads getting cut up and chopped off that obviously CGI was the only way they're going to get it done. So I appreciate that. And the CGI is not horrible, but you can tell it's fake as hell. It's a fun film. I think it overstays its welcome. It's like an hour and 40 minutes. I gave it a 6 out of 10. It was a fun watch. I'm embarrassed to say that I actually kind of enjoyed it. All right, well, that's going to do it for day 23, and I appreciate you watching.